and usher him out. Good evening to all. Welcome to Caribbean American News Media Platform. I'm just coming in here for a brief moment with you concerning some not breaking, it has been out there in the news, and that is the situation with the GPH deal. I thought that we would have come on quickly. There might be other programs on, but we are going to be just briefly having a conversation. Just bear with me, folks. I really want you to share the live and tag a friend, of course. Just bear with me as we get our YouTube monitor up. The studio was not prepared for this broadcast, and so we're going to do our best to carry this broadcast, okay? So just bear with us, tag a friend as we have a short discussion. We're not going to be here all afternoon, of course. This is not our regular programming, but I invite you to share the live and tag a friend. Share the live and tag a friend, okay? So as I said, the system is not 100% set for this broadcast, but we are going to see how we can get through anyhow. Again, bear with me as we wait for a signal over there on our YouTube network. Let's see how we can get it pulled into that site over there. Okay. Share the live, tag a friend. Good evening to all on the platform. This is an impromptu broadcast. Yes, fair enough. Okay, so we are okay there. Okay. All right, so we are going to go right into it. The broadcast will be documented for future reference. Again, Garfield Oliver here, Caribbean American News Media Platform. So, folks, yesterday we were distracted by a number of matters in the news on the ground. One, we had the House sitting. The guys were to discuss a regional bill that all governments in the region were to agree upon. They were to go to their different assemblies and pass those laws that will allow cooperation when it comes to the arrest and criminal activities, and that should have been majority of the discussion in the House, but the House went into a whole lot of stuff not relating to the protocols that was handed out for this this sitting. It went into a lot of places that it should not have gone. We saw angry ministers. We saw a lot of pettiness and childishness in the discussions, but not a lot of discussion on crime and crime prevention. There was very little discussion on it, and there were more of the Mapui type preschool behavior. That's what we saw. I'm just saying to you what I saw in reviewing last evening's House sitting. However, something interesting happened where the GPH deal came up in the discussion between the Honorable Alan Shastney, opposition leader of St. Lucia, and we had Minister Hilaire, who is, I believe, investment minister and deputy prime minister and leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And interestingly, the St. Lucians have been asking for transparency on the GPH deal. People wanted to know what is in this deal. Yesterday, the opposition leader made a statement that is concerning to me, and we'll try to get some clarity. He's going to be on Timothy's show, Newsmaker Live, tonight, and I'm sure that we will. I'm not going to call him. I'm not going to interrupt his schedule for any questions, but I'm going to go over to the House sitting for a moment so that you, the citizens, you can hear, you can listen for yourselves. We don't need to call Mr. Chasney. I'm a very busy man, and I'm sure tonight on the Timothy show that most of you would tune in by the grace of God to hear it from him. But I want us to go back into the House and let us just listen in preparation for tonight's program with Timothy and Mr. Chasney. I want to prepare your mind for what you will hear from their opposition leader, and I want you to pay particular attention to the Speaker of the House and the government under the leadership of Mr. Pear and Hilaire. I want you to observe, all right? So let's go over quickly to the House, and then we're not going to be here long. I just wanted to share this with you, all right? Let's go over to the House sitting. That was yesterday.
That you gave GPH for the land at the port. How long was that lease for? And how much is the lease for? No, you've not said it. Did you tell the people it's for $1? Did you tell the people that the lease for the land on the port is for $1 per year for 30 years? Did you tell them that you've given them the incentives to be able to provide?
Member of Gaston South.
Mr. Speaker, that we have a concessionary agreement with GPH. The concessionary agreement has no $1 or any value to it.
That is lie.
Okay, so we have the House sitting also, but I want you to pay attention here to the opposition leader's statement. The opposition leader asks the government this question: how long is the lease for? Question: did you tell the people it was for $1 a year? Unquote. That is the Honorable Alan Chasney. All right? Remember the question. How long was the lease? Second question. Did you tell the people it was for $1? All right, I want you to observe that. I'm going to take you over to the actual clip from the House, and we will have an engagement from the Speaker, Hilaire, and to Mr. Chasney. We are not going to be caught up in the sidebars. There's some sidebars in the House, which is childish, petty, of course. We're not going to be distracted by that. I want us to focus on the three individuals subject here in the discussion: the Honorable Alan Chasney, the Speaker of the House, and Mr. Hilaire.
Prime Minister, the member from Castries East, seemed to have left in his presentation, Mr. Speaker. It would seem from both presentations, Mr. Speaker, if I can say so up front, that it appears that the solution to the crime in this country is for the opposition just to shut up, say nothing, ask no questions, don't probe, do nothing. Come to the House, sit, applaud that the government's doing a fantastic job. Government's doing an amazing job. Is that what the government wants to hear? Is that what the Prime Minister wants to hear? Prime Minister spoke about the emotion behind crime. He's 100% right. Crime is emotional. Very, very emotional. It affects people. You know, when you are mother at your home at 11:30 at night with your children, feeling that you're safe, persons come knocking at your door. Next thing you hear gunfire. You run for cover, you try to grab your kids, and you're only able to get your 3 daughters, and you leave your son outside. And when you finally think it's safe to come out, your son is lying on the floor bleeding. It is becoming our norm. And the fact is that it's not just about the homicides anymore. And we heard from a very uniquely named ministry, crime prevention, of which I didn't hear. And can we really, truly envision what a mother who was shot and her son was shot 8 times? 8 times. 8 bullets. Policies to be able to save lives and to save livelihoods. That was not exploited. And if that wasn't bad enough that the government was oppressing them, no, let's add some more barren hot sauce into it. And let's now remind St. Lucians that the Prime Minister looks and sounds like a white man. Despite the fact, you know, Mr. Speaker, that many members on the other side know my family. Prime Minister knows my family. In fact, the Prime Minister knows one of my cousins. Mr. Speaker, he knows one of my own cousins. And yet he can still look at me and tell me that I'm a white man, a man who has grown up in St. Lucia. My family has been here for 4 generations. Oh, Mr. Speaker, I knew they would come back with their flogging. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the question. When Velen John, who was a member of their own party, said that criminals should be flogged, there was no problem. Oh, so here's the distinction. So now let's get the story right. What is going on in this country and the level of corruption and the deals that have been made, whether it's through CIP, GPH, NLA, all of them are so egregious. Egregious. GPH, the St. Lucians haven't even begun to understand what has happened. I cannot wait for the member to come to the House and to tell all of us the lease that you gave GPH for the land at the port. How long was that lease for? And how much is the lease for? No, you've not said it. Did you tell the people it's for $1? Did you tell the people that the lease for the land on the port is for $1 per year for 30 years? Did you tell them that you've given them the incentives to be able to provide?
Member Gas Resolve.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to raise on a point of order. This morning, the honourable members complained about date statistics just been given. We said in this House that we have a concessionary agreement with GPH. The concessionary agreement has no $1 or any value to it. It is based on the sharing of the head tax. He knows that. He has said it in public. He has said it in public repeatedly. But he's going to say now for public consumption, $1 for how many years to try and make it sound comparable to the DSH agreement. Now, Mr. Speaker, he will have to cease from continuing along those lines and speak to the bill that is before him. I think, Mr. Speaker, we've listened long enough to this tangential approach.
I want you to pay attention also to Mr. Hilaire, who seems to be out of himself and is saying to the Speaker that Mr. Chastney need to discuss basically only the bill, while his government ministers are all over the place accusing Mr. Chasney. He himself made the statement, and we'll pull it up, that as though Mr. Chasney knows the guys who are committing the crime in the country. Basically, that's what we gather from him. So he's all over the place, except for the bill, casting aspersions and saying a whole lot, both him and every one of those members in the House yesterday. But then he wants to dictate to Mr. Chasney how to speak, what he should say, when he should say it. Folks, I am telling you, this type of government need to be dealt with, need to be removed at the appropriate time. This is arrogant behavior. It is just beyond. But let's pay attention, folks, to exactly the debate now. It has switched now to the GPH deal. Now, remember Mr. Healy saying, well, the opposition leader wants you to believe that the lease is $1. There is no $1 in any document. That's what he said, right? There is no dollar value on any document. Did you hear that, folks? Did you hear it? We're going to go slowly, all right? So let's go back to the House sitting.
That is taken to the debate.
Mr. Speaker, I'd be very happy to make...
Chasney, let's go back again to listen to him.
And it is that... Oh! So here the distinction.
That he can make it a document of these lines and speak to the bill that
on the port is for $1 per year for 30 years. Did you tell them that you've given them the incentives to be able to provide...
Member Gaston South.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to rise on a point of order. This morning, the honourable members complained about date statistics just been given. We've said in this House that we have a concessional agreement with GPH. The concessional agreement has no $1 or any value to it. It is based on the sharing of the head tax. He knows that. He has said it in public. He has said it in public repeatedly. But he's going to say now for public consumption, $1 for how many years to try and make it sound comparable to the DSH agreement. Now, Mr. Speaker, he will have to cease from continuing along those lines and speak to the bill that is before him. I think, Mr. Speaker, we've listened long enough to this tangential approach that he's taken to the debate.
So, no, Mr. Healy, you have not listened enough. We have not listened enough. We have listened enough to you and your guys with their nastiness in the House. That's what we have listened enough on. So we want to hear what the opposition is saying, because something is going on here, and you guys are getting it looks to me like you're getting a dose of your own medicine. Remember with all the deals that the United Workers' Party government signed, what you guys did? You took out pieces from it, and you went into the public and make the public believe that there was so much nastiness and bad deals happening in the country. Do you guys remember what you did during the last administration of the United Workers' Party? Do you feel what is happening now? Do you feel the heat? This is exactly what you did, and worse. This is what you guys did, and now you're bending yourself out of shape and you want to silence basically the opposition leader. You have no control over his time and space. He was not placed there by you, Mr. Healy. And he's not the reporter that you allegedly tried to push out of the House yesterday. You will have some respect, sir. So we want to hear the substantial debate from the honorable opposition leader, Mr. Alan Chasney. So, Mr. Healy, I think you should be the one sitting down so that we can get some clarity, because for 4 years we have been asking for clarity on a number of issues in the country, on GPH, on CIP, and all you have been doing is just forming the fool and just circling the wagon, saying nothing to the people. Pieces of information. Your Prime Minister said, Mr. Healy, that you will give the people enough so that they can speculate. You said it. So here is where everything is coming to everything. Listen, folks, we're going to continue. I want you to listen, pay attention.
Mr. Speaker, I'd be very happy to make the lease a document of the House. A lease
So, Mr.
between
Speaker,
the
can I
Crown.
rise on a point of order? Can this honorable House take a break for 15 minutes so the honorable member can make the lease agreement with GPH for $1 for 30 years, $1 a year, a document of this House. He just said that he can make it a document of this House. I move, Mr. Speaker, that this House stands suspended until the honorable member can make available to this honorable House a copy of a lease document for $1 a year for 30 years. A lease document.
Member for Mico South, your response?
I'm very happy to acquiesce to his request, and I can send it immediately, Mr. Speaker. I don't know if I should send it to you, and you can have it printed, whichever you prefer, Mr. Speaker.
So, members, the question is that this House do send suspended for 15 minutes to allow the leader of the opposition time to make, I want to be very careful in my words, a lease document showing $1 per year for 30 years.
Now, I want you to pay attention to the Speaker and Mr. Healy. Now, they're emphasizing a lease document. Now, just like the Prime Minister playing with words concerning the dogs and the disbanding of the dogs, and he's saying, I did not disband and disband. The emphasis was on disband, disband, disband. I want you to pay attention to how you, the citizens, are being played. You, the citizens, are being played. I want you to pay attention to what is happening here. The Speaker is licking his chops. Healy is all excited because the possibility is there. Let's pay attention. Is that the opposition leader is going to present maybe a land document proving that there is a $1 lease. Maybe there's a document from the registrar somewhere in St. Lucia, some agency, that the opposition leader can present. Let's pay attention to what is happening here, folks.
GPH. And now for the question, as many as the opinion say aye, as many as that contrary opinion say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Sitting suspended.
So just bear with us. So the document is being searched for. You see the Attorney General, the Prime Minister, Healy, they're all smiling. Just pay attention. Mr. Shastney is about to send over a document to the House. So some of the talking, unnecessary talking, is from Buddy.
Je sais pas, en bill, c'est une loi, il va discuter à présent, en loi, ça va créer carry come arrest warranty. Treaty, ça c'est un agreement qui passe par la loi
make
system
towards, the
puisque encore ça c'est un bagage qui a affecté plusieurs pays
government, they're looking,
that I say,
confirming their information.
as to bills that are tourists,
There with us.
Variations, you know.
We're doing this in real time.
You raise an objection. The member from Miku South has made good on his promise. Would you like to respond?
So the speaker is confirming that the opposition leader did submit something. All right, pay attention. They are looking at the documents. Prime Minister is consulting the Attorney General. They're looking at wording. They're going through the documents.
So, Mr. Speaker,
Listen.
when we broke, the member from Miku South gave the impression to this honorable House and the entire nation that this government went and leased to GPH the port and the lands at the port for $1 a year for 30 years. I want to repeat that. That we lease $1 a year for 30 years. Every single honorable member in this House was under the impression that the lands at the port would lease for $1 a year. $1 a year. He did not say to this honorable House, and that's why I stopped him, to show me, because any common sense reading of this document, any school child reading of this document will tell you the document must be read clause after clause after clause.
Okay, so let me bring this camera back to me. Now, I want you to pay attention to Mr. Hilaire saying that members of the House were under the opinion that there was a lease for the port and for lands. I want you to pay attention, folks, to this. But then he went on to say something that caught my attention. He said, when you are reading these things, you have to read it line by line by line by line. Did you hear that? Now, here is where God does not sleep nor slumber, and God is not man that he should lie. Pay attention to this. This is the same Hilaire, the same government of St. Lucia, SLP administration, with the Daya Mall discussions and the other discussions with developers in St. Lucia. Do you remember in particular the Daya Mall situation where this same house, under the leadership of that, under the guidance of this same Speaker of the House, allow these same guys, the same players, to mislead the citizens of St. Lucia on the Daya Mall situation? They did not read line by line to the citizens. Because if they did with the Daya Mall, listen to me, St. Lucians, they would have read in the entire deal, line by line, like Mr. Hilaire is recommending now, and he's recommending it because he's at a jam. His own words, the government's own words and the actions are coming back now to hunt them. It is in their face right now. And so Hilaire now, the guy is not thinking. He's just like in between a rock and a hard place. He's trying to get out, of course. He's just saying things. He's not even paying attention a lot to what he's saying. So he says you got to read line by line by line to get the real understanding of the deal. But with the Daya Mall deal, you had to read line by line by line to understand what the deal is all about. These guys read the deal, the Daya Mall deal, and stopped at some point. If only they had continued, they would realize that part of the building was sold with the plan, with the idea, with the bolt agreement that after a certain amount of years, then the land would be placed back into into the hands of the government. So the other floors at the top was not sold, but the bottom floor was sold. The agreement is that we are selling you the bottom floor, but the property will be handed back to the government when we have satisfied payments, that monies that you would have put out in order to get the building up to standard. So therefore, to do that, the government had to sign over the land, the property, to the developer. Do you understand what I'm saying? The government had to sign over the property into the name of the developer so that they could have secured the funding and everything else to build the Bolt Agreement. The halls of justice, they attempted to do the same there. So they said to you, look, we don't need to read the entire thing. Here is a document. This is what it said. It said that you guys sold the land and they stopped. But here's a situation now with $1 a year agreement. And they now is saying to the opposition, no. You can't stop there. You got to keep reading. There's more to the deal. There's a whole lot more to the deal. No. You can't do that. That's not how you do it. Nothing new under the sun, friends. Injustice, propaganda, and lies, after a while, it comes back to haunt you. And this smells like the ghost of Christmas past on Mr. Hilaire, the Speaker of the House too, and the government of St. Lucia. The Speaker of the House should be ashamed right now. Mr. Hilaire should be ashamed also. Once again, Alan Chasney stands on a plateau of strength, steady-handedness, calmness. And if you look at the government side, they are sweating. They are sweating below the nose, around the eyes, around the ear. They are just sweating beyond sweat. And they're revealing a lot if you listen closely. So let's go back to the House sitting. Bear with us.
Clause.
Papier, à chaque monde ni en copie, ça nous a créé preuve là. Bon, preuve là, c'est exactement ça, on va aller chercher des agréments même. Puis des documents même, c'est ça qui preuve là. So, il can présenter à présent avec speaker qui constitue.
Honorable members, we are back on the record, and member for Castries South. He raised an objection. The member for Mico South has made good on his promise. Would you like to respond?
So, Mr. Speaker, when we broke, the member from Mico South gave the impression to this honorable House and the entire nation that this government went and leased to GPH the port and the lands at the port for $1 a year for 30 years. I want to repeat that. That we lease $1 a year for 30 years. Every single honorable member in this House was under the impression that the lands at the port would lease for $1 a year. $1 a year. He did not say to this honorable House, and that's why I stopped him, to show me, because any common sense reading of this document, any school child reading of this document will tell you the document must be read clause after clause after clause.
in St. Lucian's, it means that even a school child could have read better than Ernest Hilaire, the Speaker of the House, and the SLP ministers with the DHS deal in View Fort, and also the Diamol deal. It means that these guys were not reading properly, and the school child could have read better than them with their explanation of the DHS and the Diamol deal. Is that true? Yes, the guys are revealing all that you need to know. You need to just listen to them. If you listen enough, folks, and not get angry, if you listen enough and you stop keeping noise, then you would hear these guys exposing themselves. So even a school child can read better and understand much better than your government ministers and the Speaker of the House at this time. They said it, and I quote, not I. Let's continue.
Clause after clause after clause.
Clause after clause after clause. They missed a lot of clause in the Diamol deal and the DSH deal, to the point that they said the government bought horses. The government put horses before hospital. You understand what is going on here? Clause after clause after clause. Clause after clause after clause. Mr. Hilaire is exposing himself and exposing the Speaker of the House, who falsely interpreted the deal and read the deal. He did not read it. Clause after clause after clause. But let them tell us about themselves. But they're projecting themselves, or they're attempting to project themselves on the opposition leader, the Right Honorable Mr. Alan Chastney. Listen to clause after clause after clause.
So sit down and let me explain to you. Now I can understand why this country was in so much trouble after 6 years of your leadership. Because you did not seem to have basic understanding of issues. Basic understanding. So this is a document that was prepared.
So the opposition leader, Mr. Chastney, needs to sit down because he do not understand. But here is Mr. Hilaire, who said that the dog, the canine unit, was too expensive. And eventually, they got rid. Don't use the word disbandment, because the Prime Minister said, no, we didn't disband. So they stopped, they got rid of the canine unit. I think clause after clause after clause would tell us that's exactly what this government did. Is that true? Let them speak.
And let me backtrack a bit. We signed a concessional agreement with GPH. They paid off the debt of Slasper. They are developing the new vendors arcade. They're developing the fisherman's village at Banan. They're developing the wharf at Point Seraphine. They're building Jeremy Street. They did Jeremy Street. They're doing the boardwalk.
Clause after clause after clause.
They're doing Soufrière waterfront. A series of activities will take.
Clause after clause after clause. To me, it sounds like Mr. Hilaire is Santa Claus. Isn't that true? He sounds like grumpy old Santa Claus. Yeah?
Place. That's the concession agreement. Plus, we share the head tax with them. For them to build and develop and operate the businesses at the different places, the vendors arcade, what's the other one, Banan, whatnot. they have to have title to be able to build. Just for example, any bolt agreement you're doing right at the Halls of Justice, you have to provide title so it can be built up.
Clause after clause after clause. Mr. Healer now is explaining to you folks the DHS deal and the Diamol deal. I want you to listen carefully. He's explaining in his own words. While he's trying to explain GPH, he's actually saying exactly what the Honorable Alan Shastney has been saying to the people of St. Lucia. And him, Mr. Santa Claus, Hilaire, Mr. Santa Claus, that's his new name, Santa Claus, clause after clause after clause. He's exposing himself and his government. And he's telling you, look, I mean, this is what we had to do in order to get the deal. I mean, it's a bold agreement. I mean, that's the same thing Shastney did with the Diamol. That's what he's saying to you folks. You got to listen. Clause after clause after clause. And by the way, Mr. Hilaire, what's the difference between a lease and a rent? The lease and the rent is not yours. Same thing. Lease, rent. You can play with the words. Yes, there's a slight difference there, but if we say sale, then that's different. But once you're renting or leasing, it's not yours. Hey, if you buy, then it's yours. So let's stop playing with words. Stop the nonsense.
On whatnot. This clearly states this after clause after clause. So sit down and let me explain to you. Now I can understand why this country was in so much trouble after 6 years of your leadership. Because you did not seem to have basic understanding of issues. Basic understanding. So this is a document that was prepared. And let me backtrack a bit.
Backtrack.
We signed a concessional agreement with GPH. They paid off the debt of SLASPA. They are developing the new vendors arcade. They're developing the fisherman's village at Banan. They're developing the wharf at Point Seraphim. They're building Jeremy Street. They did Jeremy Street. They're doing the boardwalk. They're doing Soufre waterfront. A series of activities will take place. That's the concessional agreement. Plus, we share the head tax with them. For them to build and develop and operate the businesses at the different places, the vendors arcade, what's the other one, Banan, whatnot, they have to have title to be able to build. Just for example, any bolt agreement you're doing right at the Halls of Justice, you have to provide title so it can be built upon whatnot. This clearly states.
Hold it, Mr. Hilaire. So you're saying just like the Halls of Justice, the bold agreement, that the land had to be transferred in the name of the developer. Is that what you just said, Mr. Hilaire? Did you just say that, Mr. Hilaire? That with a bold agreement, it means that lands are handed over to the developer, which means that you transfer the property in the name of the developer. Whether it's for $1, whether it's $1.50 or $2, you hand it over to them, but to protect the government and the deal, you add clause after clause after clause. And one of the clause with the DSH and one of the clause with the Diamol, Mr. Hilaire, that you're explaining beautifully to the people of St. Lucia, is that the land had to be handed over to the developer. So if you go to the registrar of or the land registry or whatever it is, whatever the agency is, if you are searching for that property, what you will discover is that the property is in the name of the developer. It's going to give you the year and the date that the agreement was entered into and who the agreement with. Is that true, Mr. Hilaire? Is that what really happened with the DSH, with the GPH, with the Diamol situation, Mr. Hilaire? Is that what you're saying to us, Mr. Santa Claus? Is that what you're doing? Clause after clause after clause. Now you're saying to the St. Lucians, yeah, the land had to be, property had to be handed over. So it means that the old courthouse in Castries in front of the church there, the Catholic Church, was signed over or given to the developer. So at that space, it is no longer the property of St. Lucia. Prime land, Mr. Hilaire, if we want to bend stuff out of shape and to play with words, it sounds like your government gave away the lands in Castries, if that's what you want to say. If that's the same argument with the Dyer Mall deal, it means that your government gave away prime land in Castries. But as you said, Mr. Hilaire, you have to go clause after clause after clause to understand the full deal. You and Mr. Frederick have been misleading the citizens of the country and accusing Honorable Alan Shastney of giving away prime land. You gave away, if we're going by the standard you guys are setting in the country, if we should go by that, we can truly say that you guys gave away prime state land in Castries, where the old courthouse was, close to the same house that you're arguing in, and I believe the Masapchi is in the center of that property there, between you and the land that you gave away to a Trinidadian company. Can we say that? No, but we got to read clause after clause after clause, and we might not come to that conclusion, Mr. Hilaire. Shame on you. And it took God to expose you guys lying tongue and deceitful tongue that Mr. Shastney gave away the Dyer Mall land for nothing. But if we go clause after clause after clause, sir, that's not really the deal. So let's listen to Mr. Santa Claus deceptions.
Custodies, all of them. This clearly states that the leasing, covenants with the leaseor, 8. Any school child reading of this document will tell you the document must be read clause after clause after clause. Clause after clause after clause. So sit down and let me explain to you. Now I can understand why this country was in so much trouble after 6 years of your leadership. Because you did not seem to have basic understanding of issues.
Now, here is another clause that this gentleman is not following. Mr. Shastney never spent 6 years in any office. He got to read, Mr. Hilaire, you got to read clause after clause after clause. And in the first clause, there was COVID. Mr. Shastney had to ensure that the country could have gone into elections in a safe and secure manner. Clause 2, COVID was out there killing people. Clause 3, the Constitution gave him, I believe, up to 3 months to call the elections. So, Mr. Hilaire, you got to read clause after clause after clause after clause.
Understanding. So this is a document that was prepared, and let me backtrack a bit. We signed a concessional agreement with GPH. They paid off the debt of SLASPA. They are developing the new vendors arcade. They're developing the fisherman's village free for the purposes to maintain all the facilities. 4, to construct buildings on the demised premises. It goes 5, to keep all such buildings and erections, including drains, blah, 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 in good and tenable repair. And it goes on with all the obligations, of which just one of them is the rent of the land. The rent of the land. It gives you all a series of things they have to pay. A series of them. But he stands up and gives you the impression that GPH was given the land for $1 a year. For $1 a year. And that's the impression he's giving. I'm waiting for him to show me which document that shows that GPH got lands at the port for $1 a year. And that you are misleading the House. The dollar is the rental part. In addition to that, they are spending over $60 million.
So he's saying to you, St. Lucians, that show me where it says $1, and then he comes back to say that the only dollar is for rent. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh on this serious matter. So there's no rent. Show me in the document where there is rent for $1. But there is rent for $1, Mr. Speaker, only for rent for $1. Okay. Maybe I'm not the school child, so I can't understand this. But let's go on, folks.
$60 million. $60 million. This is you. This. I mean, let me just, Mr. Speaker. Let us proceed. This is clearly a very cheap attempt to mislead and to spin, and they're very good at doing this. That when they try one accusation.
Now, look who is accusing, folks, the opposition of turning and twisting stuff, while he is in front of us, clause after clause after clause, twisting and bending everything out of shape to suit Mrs. Claus. Pay attention to Santa Claus.
You rebuff it and you deconstruct it. They spin it and they come with a different angle. There is no lease of the port or lands at the port for any $1 a year for 30 years.
If that's not misleading Mr. Claus, then I really got to give up this broadcasting thing, because I just don't understand, honestly, what you just said there. I don't. So the question is there any arrangement for $1 a year with GPH? Stop beating around the bush. Stop telling, it's not that, it's not this, it's not that. Then is what? Mr. Claus, is there a GPH deal with the government of St. Lucia, with the king, with King Council or the king, whatever it is in the country? Is there a deal between the government of St. Lucia and the GPH company for $1 for anything at all? It could be a mosquito, a peanut, Mr. Healy, Mr. Claus. It could be for the seabed, for the salt in the water, in the seawater. It could be for, I don't know what to say, Mr. Claus. But the question again is there any agreement with GPH for $1 a year? When you finish, go all around the wagon, Mr. Claus. Come back to the substantial debate.
There was a concession agreement with GPH that clearly stated all their obligations. All their obligations.
The opposition leader was not talking about all their obligations. As a matter of fact, the people of St. Lucia don't know what all their obligations are. As a matter of fact, the people of St. Lucia don't even know what they're doing in Soufriere. How about that, Mr. Claus, after Claus? The people don't know the clauses because your minister, Hippolyte, from Soufriere, said that there's a secret deal. Secret deal. Maybe she is Mrs. Claus, I don't know. But two of you seems to have all the clause, and the people of St. Lucia don't know anything about the clause. So what is the clause in Soufrière? And the clause in Castries? And the clause actually in Vieux Fort? Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus.
Totaling tens of millions of US dollars. Tens of millions of US dollars. One clause says you shall pay a rent of the land for the land.
Oops, Mr. Claus. What did you just say? That one clause said you shall pay a rent for the land? You just said, and I'm confused, I'll tell you, Mr. Claus, you just said that there is no dollar lease, you said? No, nothing. Okay, go ahead, sir. Yeah, okay, you go ahead.
At $1. He says we lease the port and the lands at the port for $1 a year. Now, Mr. Speaker, yeah, initially, Mr. Speaker, he said we had sold the port to GPH. Sold the port to GPH.
Not here.
Huh?
Not here.
He said it here, there, and everywhere. You understand? So, but Mr. Speaker, this is another cheaper than by the leader of the opposition.
Member for Mikosa. Sarge, can you put in the microphone, friend?
So, folks, there you have Mr. Healy drowned in, and nobody is coming to his rescue. Not the Attorney General, not the Prime Minister, not even Buddy, Mr. Disturber, not even Buddy. No one is coming to his rescue. Everybody's sitting there hoping that Mr. Claus would just stop and sit down. Y'all realize that? Every one of those claws were in there with their document watching, ducking, winking, praying, and hoping that Mr. Claus sit down. Even Sister Claus was hoping, and she was dressed for the moment, hoping that Mr. Claus would sit down. And sit down he did, all by himself.
Mr. Speaker, it really is very, very, very sad when the integrity of a member of this House, particularly a member who is the deputy political leader of the party, the deputy prime minister of this country, holds the portfolio of CIP, holds the portfolio of investment and tourism, Mr. Speaker. So a person has obviously been given a tremendous amount of confidence in the House. Would, after being caught, and I'm glad everybody, that's why I took my time to let him speak enough, to see how he was going to try to wiggle his way out of this. Mr. Speaker, this is a document that was signed before a lawyer, Thaddeus Mark Antoine, between Charles III, which is the Crown, Mr. Speaker, and GPH. We don't have to go very far. It says, whereas the government of St. Lucia and the Air Sea Ports Authority and the leasee have entered into a concession. Mr. Speaker, not only is this a 30-year lease, but it's an emphyteutic lease, because it is actually in their concessions allowing them to pass on the incentives that they're getting to a third party. So it means they can actually mortgage this land, Mr. Speaker. They can put up this land as collateral.
Member for Castries Central.
Mr. Speaker, I'm a bit lost because the member, it's a point I need to be elucidated from a legal standpoint. He said it is an emphyteutic lease. A 30-year lease is an emphyteutic lease. I want to know how it becomes an emphyteutic lease, Mr. Speaker. Because an emphyteutic lease is normally a 99-year lease.
I know the member from Castries Central has many lawyers, so I'll let him go and get advice before we have that discussion. But the reality is, Mr. Speaker, when you read this lease, And more importantly, the other letter is a concession letter. It's very, very clear what the intention of the government is going to do. And I want to say that the fact is that they're leasing it for $1 per year for 30 years. Now, I'm listening to the member from Castries South. Really? Rent? And because we're going to give them the land, and we can justify giving it for $1 because they're going to build on it? Are all of you for real? Really? Really? Nobody said you sold it. Somebody's, what, you know what we said? You know what we said? The Labour Party has sold out St. Lucian's because what the member and the port, what his member has not provided the details of, Mr. Speaker. If in fact we were getting $6.50 before in total as a head tax, Mr. Speaker, $6.50, and of that $1.50 was going to solid waste. $2.50 was going to SLASPA, and $2.50 was going to the government of St. Lucia. And a report that was done by the Ministry of Finance, a team, told the government, Mr. Speaker, the better deal to do than GPH is to take the $2.50 that was going to the government and give it to SLASPA. If SLASPA was getting $5, everything that they had earmarked for GPH to do, SLASPA itself would have done. No need for leasing the land, no need for any of the concessions, nothing. They could have done everything by themselves. Instead, the genius, the great negotiator, goes and has a meeting on March 30th and signs an agreement on April 1st, appropriately April 1st. To do what? To agree that there's going to be a $12 tax. And of that $12, GPH is going to get $10. Why? Why would you give GPH $10? What has GPH brought to St. Lucia, Mr. Speaker? Have they brought expertise? Is it that we've now all of a sudden lost the expertise to build the vendors arcade, Mr. Speaker? Is it we've lost the expertise to strengthen a dock, Mr. Speaker? Is it the expertise to build a broadwalk? We cannot do that, Mr. Speaker. We cannot fix up Soufriere Town, Mr. Speaker. We rely on a third party through a secret deal to be able to go and do that for us, Mr. Speaker. That is where we've come to. We've regressed. This is the same country that in 1981, under Sir John Compton, built Point Seraphin, way ahead of its time. The first in the Southern Caribbean to have a dedicated port facility. We did that. This is the same SLASPA that did the extension for the quantum class. We in St. Lucia did that. The vendors arcade was built by St. Lucia. All of a sudden we cannot. Now, you know what the hypocrisy of all of this is, Mr. Speaker? The worst part about this, and we talk about emotion and you want to blame people and taking advantage of situations. Who was more villainized over DSH and leasing 180 acres for $1 an acre a year? And why is it that that deal on that land, with the same expectation, Mr. Speaker, that DSH was going to build a horse racing track with their own money, the same member from Castries Central, 6 years now, Theo King got CIP money. He can't prove it, never. We're in court and he will not be able to prove it in court. He will lose that in court.
Member for Castries Central.
Mr. Speaker, I hardly disclose, but just on a point of elucidation, Mr. Speaker.
Elucidation?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Are you yielding to elucidation?
On a point of order, Mr. Speaker, he is misleading the House. Mr. Speaker, there is no way you can juxtapose. He said that basically this lease agreement can stand side by side with the agreement with DSH. That is a virtual impossibility, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I read this, very early in the whereas clauses at number 2, and it speaks to the juxtaposition of this lease with another agreement. It says, and I quote, this lease agreement is entered into as a result of the concession agreement. So how can you take this in isolation, not even check the concession agreement? This is not a standalone document, Mr. Speaker. It is not a standalone document. There is a concession agreement which is the basis for the formation or execution of this lease. So you take this lease, the concession agreement may have said that GPH paid off all government debts of $100 million. Where is it? And it certainly justifies the execution of this. And I could tell you one of the things in the concession agreement is GPH is paying off a loan of SLASPA of $20 million US dollars. That is nowhere in the lease agreement. You will not see it. But he will take the lease agreement. He will forget he will take the lease. He will forget the agreement that gives rise to the execution of the lease and deal with the lease as though it stands alone. Mr. Speaker, permit me to say that in Creole.
Remember, omission is not a breach of the standing orders.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker,
you do have an opportunity to speak.
I have.
On the bill. So
sit down.
Yes, that's what's before us.
No, remember you have an opportunity to speak on the bill.
I will.
You're getting two opportunities now.
I will, Mr. Speaker. I definitely will.
Wow, ridiculous.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. You know, there must be something over in that corner, Mr. Speaker, because when you've been giving people in this House a certain amount of advice, it seems they're ignoring you. You know, it's amazing, and I hope that St. Lucia's listening to this, what the member from Castries Central just said. He said you cannot judge the lease by itself because it makes reference to a concession agreement. I agree with him, Mr. Speaker. The same way that when we speak about the Daher Mall, that we've been in this House and we're now in court on this situation, where we've brought a lease to this House and we said you cannot look at the lease by itself because the lease makes reference to what? A development agreement, which is exactly the same as the concession agreement. And he's right.
Member for Miku South, this is chalk and cheese. What was debated in this House on the Daher Mall was your argument was it was not sold. There was a deed of sale. So these are two different things. So perhaps you may not.
Now, folks, this is the Speaker of the House now being exposed. Now, folks, hold a minute. You see the Honorable Alan Chastney? I love him even more and more right now. This guy is smart. The opposition leader was able to open an entire debate on GPH without their consent. They didn't want the debate. They were debating something else. Mr. Chastney is having them fellas expose themselves all by themselves, and he's smiling. If you look at him, he has them exactly where he wants them. Now, when I say to you that this Alan Chastney has some of the best prayer warriors on their knees on his behalf, and I am one of them, you would not believe it. He don't have to fight and jump and scream. He just got to be calm, be still, and know that God is God. These fellas, without even they acknowledging that they're debating the GPH deal, which was never tabled for discussion, the Speaker has no choice but to just go with the flow. Now remember, he's not saying to them, guys, we are straying from the debate, let's get back. He's not bringing any order back. He has no choice. God must be God. and man must settle themselves. And so the speaker is engaging now. Oh, no, that's not what it is. He was one of them debating, arguing over and over. Mr. Opposition, no, that the lease, it says the lease, there's a sales agreement here. You guys have a sales agreement too with GPH. You guys have a sales agreement with the Halls of Justice in Castries. They have a lease. They have a document stating that the property is theirs for $1. Duh. But Mr. Shasta, brilliant. And if you realize one man have all them fellas whole Koyo Pabo, they are just sweating, they are all over the place. Say it ain't so, folks. But we got to end the show soon. Let's continue because tonight, Mr. Shasta is going to come down. I am sure. And he's on the same wavelength with me because I'm thinking exactly what he's thinking even before he says it. Wise me. Let's go back.
I want to go down that route.
A development agreement as to what the conditions of that sale were. And it's when you go to the conditions of the sale that you understand that what the government did was allow exactly what is taking place here, is allowing the developer to have access to the space in order to be able to get a loan, and that the government is going to pay back its portion of the loan. But that is only in the development agreement. It is not in the deed of sale. And I'm just so happy that the member did that because I've been trying to explain that to him forever, and all of a sudden now there's a revelation, an understanding. But the issue was, and I said, that you leased port land, and this is OD1, you know, Mr. Speaker. There's more. There's more. I said you leased land for $1. You have. And not even that the member from Castries South conceded. He has not conceded on what's happened at CIP and the illegality.
Remember, we are debating the CARICOM arrest warrant treaty.
Folks, hey. So here Mr. Speaker now is released from his chokehold. Now he realized how bad this is. For according to him, his ruling as the High Court judge in the House, he now is realizing, look, I can't allow this to go. Maybe he got a text. I don't know if one of them fellas sent a text, Mr. Speaker, you got to stop this quickly. This is looking very bad for the government. And so Mr. Speaker steps in and he's like, oh, guys, remember, we are discussing the OECS bill. Oops, Mr. Speaker, you were sitting there all the time. Did you not realize when Mr. Healer was discussing and Shas was discussing earlier and you suspended the House to get documents, did you not understand that you were discussing something else? Did you not remember, sir, that you were discussing a different bill? You allowed this to go so far that the whole OECS bill is settled in the dust. And you are now on GPH. Now that you guys are exposing yourselves, excuse me, now it is going into rougher waters on matters that are in the courts. You, Mr. Speaker, ruled. You said, I have ruled that the property, the Dia Mall, was sold. There is a document at the registry that states it was sold. Mr. Shasta says to you, sir, there is writing documents. There are other documents. You cannot just read the sales agreement in isolation. You got to look at the clause. The clause, Mr. Sat, the clause. You got to continue reading, Mr. Speaker. He said, no, I have the document. It's just, and here now, the chickens have come home to cook a whole coil. Pardon. Huh? Nobody's coming to his rescue. Buddy tried, but our. Let's go. Speaker is on the rescue now.
Unless you're seeking to For Castries South, I'm trying to see the relevance.
I started off my presentation by saying that the Prime Minister gave a confession. The Prime Minister went all over the world. I'm not the one who brought these issues up, Mr. Speaker. These issues were brought up in the debate. But, Mr. Speaker, we have not heard the last of it. If the member from Castries South believes that he can get away continuously in saying mistruths about agreements that the government has undertaken on behalf of the people of St. Lucia, it's coming. Today was only a beginning of the amount of information that will unravel the level of corruption that has happened in this country, Mr. Speaker. The corruption. Mr. Speaker, as I said, the members, Prime Minister wants to speak about the canine dog, and I think he used the word disband. Mr. Speaker, is the Prime Minister who came and said that, along with his deputy, that $40,000 a month was too much for the canine dogs that were there? And in fact, went as far as to say that they're going to be getting the scanners and the dogs are no longer needed.
Okay, so let's support Mr. Shastney here. We got to support Mr. Shastney quickly before we leave. Let's support him. Hilaire did say it. And let's do that before Hilaire say, I didn't say it.
As a month, $40,000 a month with a private interest, to be able to use dogs. When the police force has had dogs over the years at considerably less cost, and they left without paying the bills. And then we now have to pay the bills, and the whole question of sustainability and what is the best use of money. As a month, $40,000 a month with a private interest, to be able to use dogs. When the police force has had dogs over the years.
So in other words, a private interest, he's trying to say some foreigner or friend, and they're trying to just play there with your mind, of course. And $40,000, $40,000, folks.
Really less cost, and they left without paying the bills, and then we now have to.
They left without paying the bills. No, they were voted out before paying the bills, Mr. Hilaire, Mr. Claus. They were voted out before paying the bills. If they were voted in, then they would have paid the bills. Whoever government is voted in got to continue to pay the bills of government, sir. Nobody sneaked out the back door and didn't want to pay the bills. Why is me? Listen to the Prime Minister on the same canine deal, folks.
Dogs were pulled back is because we were told that the scanners would have been ready and there would not have been any need for both of them. And people seem to have
By the way, hold a minute, Mr. Prime Minister. Hold your horses, sir. Not so fast. Who told you because there is scanner you don't need dogs? What kind of nonsense are you saying in public, sir? What kind of foolishness is this? This is nonsense. And now you guys are playing, we didn't disband the dogs, we did. Come on, sir, let's talk seriously to the citizens of this country. So, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm going to give you another chance to...
That's a very good question, but what I like the best is how we intend to address it.
Mr. Prime Minister, could you stop for a minute? This is serious stuff we're dealing with, sir.
That's a very good question, but what I like the best is how we intend to address it.
I give up. We need to get Shas. We need to put Shas back in because this kind of clown show and Santa Claus show, listen to me. Christmas comes once a year. St. Lucia got to be run all during the year. So, you know what? We got to get Santa Claus out and the clown show comes every summer. We need a full-time Prime Minister. This is ridiculous. So we have scanner, therefore we got to get rid of the dogs. They told us we didn't need the dogs. Who told you, sir? Fire whoever told you so right away. Did Healer say that to you? Fire him. Who said that to you? Richard said it? Fire him. Mr. Prime Minister, who said that to you?
That's a very good question.
I know, that's why I'm asking you. It's a good question. It's me asking it. Who told you that? Who told you, Mr. Prime Minister? Who told you because you have a scanner you don't need the dogs? Who told you?
That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how we intend to address it.
So, sir, whatever you just said there, Padisako. Padisako. Don't say it again, oh.
Dogs were pulled back is because we were told that the scanners would have been ready and there would not have been any need for both of them. And people seem to have forgotten that. But
we forgot because we don't know who told you that, Mr. Prime Minister. Because if we heard somebody say that to you, we would have condemned them. We would have just stopped them, Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister. The scanners will be ready so we don't need dogs? Oh, man. Folks, we don't have a full show here. I'm not even sure why I'm still on the live here, but let's do this again for the last time.
Have not been ready, or if they're ready, they're not as efficient, so I've asked the Attorney General to look into returning the dogs to the customs to see what we can do to stem.
Yeah, but the dogs are gone, Mr. Prime Minister. They were all gone to Jamaica. It was too expensive, remember? You remember it was too expensive? Mr. Prime Minister, it was too expensive. The bills were not paid.
The whole question of sustainability and what is the best use of money a month, $40,000 a month. With a private...
So now you want to get the $40,000 a month now? Do you have it now to pay? You said it was too much, oh.
Of guns into the country through the barriers. So I can stand up like a man and say...
No, you can't stand up like a man. Come on, buddy.
That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how we intend to address it.
Mr. Prime Minister, you're not standing up like a man. Don't tell us you're standing up like a man. What were you standing up like? When they told you that, what did you stand up like? What? Oh, this is depressing, folks.
We are going to speak to the owners of the dogs.
They are gone, Mr. Prime Minister. Don't you...
That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how we intend to address it.
Mr. Prime Minister, how do you intend to address it?
Turn them to the situation, at least if we can stem or help stem, or then if they can help us stem the influx of guns into the barrel.
The influx of guns into the barrels of the country? Buddy, come on.
That's a very good question. But what I like
Prime
the
Minister,
best is
come on. I'm about
to
walk off the set.
Attending to address it is not in my... it's not in my...
Wait. Did you just say, Mr. Prime Minister, that they're importing the guns into the barrels? I thought they were importing it in St. Lucia. Is the barrel a country? Mr. Buddy.
Were pulled back is because we were told that the scanners would have been ready and there would not have been any need for both of them. And people seem to have forgotten that. But the scanners have not been ready, or if they're ready, they're not as efficient, so I've asked the Attorney General to look into returning the dogs.
So the Prime Minister don't know if the scanners are ready, if they're efficient, if... He don't know about the borders of the country. He don't know. He don't know.
To the customs to see what we can do to stem the flow of guns into the country through the barriers. So I can stand up like a man and say that we are going to speak to the owners of the dogs to see if we can return them to the situation.
Mr. Prime Minister, again, it's $40,000 You don't have it. Remember, you never had it. It was too much. So I don't know what games is this. But we got to close the show, folks. We got to close the show.
And doing an amazing, amazing job in Jamaica. And it's not until the French gave them this new canine dog that they brought back the canine dog. And that's when the Prime Minister said, well, I was a bit wrong because we're going to need both. Of course you're going to need both. It's always been clear that you're going to need both.
Mr. Speaker,
Member for Castries East,
I've allowed him.
please wait until I call you. Please proceed.
Sorry. I've allowed him to get along for it. Mr. Speaker, he just quotes me. Mr. Speaker, you know, I'm going to quote him in my rebuttal. I hope he stays to head. I'm going to play him.
Wait a minute. What was... hold. Mr. Penn, did you stand up to tell a speaker that you're going to rebut the opposition leader and you're going to play him? You hope he stayed there to hear you play. That's what you stood up to tell the speaker? That was the point of order, that you're going to play him? Oh, how long?
Prime Minister has not even told us at what point did this friendly government come to him. Thank you very much. Because it stinks. Something is going to cost the people. Quick state of emergency. Mr. Speaker, these issues about the CCJ. We came into office. Because while the economy contracted severely in 2020...
Folks, I'm going to let you go. I want you to look out tonight, all right, for the opposition leader. And by the way, I want to publicly say this again, Mr. Opposition Leader. You have my 100% support. I love you more than ever before. You know, I love you with the love of God. Yeah? Congratulations. You had the speaker and the house going for a while there. Thank you so much, sir. You are truly the best, simply the best, better than the rest. Very calm and collect with a smile on your face. You just dismantled all the propaganda throughout the 4 years. In one sitting, you did that, sir. Congratulations to you, opposition leader, Mr. Alan Chastney. Love you, love you, love you. And listen to me. Let's get to work. Let's get you back into office. This is just too much. Folks, I have a promotion here that I did not do last evening. Let me see if I can pull it up quickly. And that is for Dennery South Diaspora. Ben for Den. Benson Emil will be in New York for on Saturday the 23rd. The date was adjusted, but on the 23rd at 7 p.m., Ben is going to be in Dennery to have a conversation with the Dennery South Diaspora and those who are interested in meeting Ben. I will be there with him, and so I'm going to be asking you to come out, come one, come all. Let us support, whether you're from Soufrière, Vieux-Fort, you're in the diaspora. The address is 1418 Park Place, Utica and Rochester Avenue in Brooklyn. That is on this Saturday, the 23rd, at 7 p.m. All are welcome. Come and meet Ben. Let's just meet him, greet him, spend a little time with Ben. Encouragement. Come in large numbers so that we can send a signal. 1418 Park Place, Utica, Rochester Avenue. And we will be having another live with Kakal. Kakal is going to be in New York with a massive activity there in Brooklyn. So that I will be promoting. He will be here. Also, Natty Conqueror and some others will be there in Brooklyn. So New York is going to be on fire in the next few days. And we invite you starting this Saturday at 7 that you come out to support Ben for Den. Folks, It was nice being here with you. It was not my intention to stay long, but blessings. I give you a bonus show out. See ya.